So I recently just finished this cabinet, these bookshelves, I guess, or set of shelves. I built these shelves. It's about over 8 feet long, almost 9 feet long, and 2.5 feet tall. These are shelves that I built so that I could store a lot, or store and display a lot of my geometric and puzzle designs that I have made over the years. And fittingly, I made these shelves in a configuration of pentomino pieces, a very long 4 by 15 configuration of pentominos. These are basically pine board shelves with oak trim, detailed on the web page where you're seeing this video probably. But I thought I'd just give a tour basically of all the puzzles that have filled it up. Within a couple hours I went through my house and gathered a bunch of puzzle prototypes and geometric shapes that I had made throughout the year, and very quickly filled up these brand new shelves where I barely have any room left on them. But what I realized is that these puzzles and geometric shapes are a really good exhibition on the different technologies I've used and the different means I've used to create various puzzles throughout the years. I've created puzzles and geometric shapes all my life, since I was a kid, since I was in grade school, when I was folding paper and learning how to cut and fold cubes and things like that. And through the years, my techniques got a little more advanced, my tools got more advanced, technology helps me out a lot, and so forth. And what you see is kind of a demonstration of that. Now, everything that on these shelves have pretty much been made in the past 15 years, I would say. I don't have anything from like my early childhood or anything like that. But what you do see are a lot of different materials and different techniques used. For example, I've got things made out of Lego bricks. Never discount Lego bricks for prototyping or just very good model making. Here's a giant egg that I used at a puzzle party years ago that created out of Lego bricks, an egg-shaped geometric figure. Lego pieces, of course, are very precisely made, and they can be very good for making models or prototypes of various sorts. Starting up here now in this corner, you see a lot of artifacts from past puzzle parties. Back when I used to throw puzzle parties and a lot of friends would show up and run around town and solve puzzles, I have a lot of the old trophies. This is from the very first puzzle party, this trophy, again made out of Lego bricks. Here are I think trophies from EPP. I thought there was a date on there. I can't remember which puzzle party that was from. In the back, a plaque from EPP 10, little pie-shaped trophies, pieces of pie for the Pie Day puzzle, a cat-shaped trophy for one of the cat-themed parties, and so forth. Also, I have one of the infamous metal eggs. There's something embedded inside this metal egg that's solid aluminum, or nearly solid, and teams had to figure out what was inside of it. Here I have something made. This was made out of wood. Let me go over here actually to this icosahedron, this 20-sided shape. So here I demonstrate that I grew up, my father had a wood shop, still has a wood shop with power tools, and I grew up learning how to build things out of wood. Of course, also I have a wood cabinet I just built. But here is a model, this icosahedron, which is exactly that. This is made of oak. I cut the triangular pieces out, cut the angles down, and glued them together. And I've had that for almost 2 decades now. Just a nice solid, platonic solid icosahedron. This is a more complex of a shape, but underneath it is a wooden shape, but on the surface I then designed a maze. I don't know how well that will come out on camera. A maze that I believe there's a little S for the start, and somewhere else there is an F for finish. I wrote a computer program to design mazes that basically go on the surface of soccer balls years and years ago. Here's another more complex wooden model. Again, I cut these out with power tools and then glued them together by hand. Another model here, fairly basic. This comes apart, and you have to arrange the numbers in a certain configuration. But pretty basic wooden shape. Cut these out on tools, and then these numbers I just bought at a hobby store or a bookstore or something like that, and designed a puzzle out of that. So you see, the early days was all wooden manufacturing, basically, using these power tools. Then at some point I got a laser cutter. I've had my laser cutter for over a dozen years now, and I was able to start getting things a little more intricate. So you see this model right here. This is made of acrylic and snapped together. And here's one made out of basswood. Again, I very much like spherical shapes, and so cutting things out and assembling them into spheres. Up top you see a much more complex, that's a 60-sided shape, but this was each side was laser cut and then all glued together. Here are a couple more examples of laser cut items. This is a maze that has mirrors embedded inside, and when you look through one hole, you have to figure out which other hole you are seeing out of, and things like that. This is, I don't know how well this will show up because the pieces are clear, but this looks like some type of polyomino or pentomino type puzzle, but this was actually a trick puzzle used at one of my puzzle parties. It appears that you should try to fit these 10 pieces into this square down here, but in fact that is impossible to do. And the trick is, if you can read it, those pieces, regardless of, you don't try to put them in the square, the pieces actually spell out in letters the phrase Tulip Court, which is a street address in Auburn, Alabama, where teams had to actually go find the puzzles. What else do we have here? So I went to laser cutting, and then I went to 3D printing. That was definitely a big step up. So this is 3D printed. Here's another 3D printed model. All of these 3D printed. This very intricate shape, 120-sided shape there, is 3D printed. A Mobius figure down holding it up. 3D printed, I actually got that through shapeways.com. I didn't do that on my printer at my house. But there's another 3D printed object in the corner. Those balls, which are a puzzle, 3D printed on the surface of metallic spheres, and so forth. The 3D printing was definitely a boon as far as me being able to create things that I had envisioned and before could only put into visualize in my head. The 3D printer let me do those, actually create those objects. So I'm just kind of showing these different things. 3D printing also indirectly helped me create things. For example, these giant dice right here. These are actually molded out of, I think, some type of polyurethane plastic or something. I can't remember exactly what type, but I created the molds, 3D printed the molds, and then poured the plastic into them and created them. Here's a very intricate model, 3D printed, I did myself. Pretty much everything on these shelves I either created myself, or, for example, here's a trophy I won for one of my puzzles right down here, a wooden assembly type puzzle. This object, this icosahedron, this frame here, I actually just bought at Walmart of all places. I saw it in their home decor section, but it's a perfect icosahedron, and it actually happens to be the exact same size as the wooden one I had made years ago. So I just picked it up. It was relatively inexpensive. Finally, to cap things off, in some of the shelves I have a collection of various books and puzzles that I've either written or contributed to through the years. Most of these at one point were available through stores, toy stores, Amazon, bookstores, things like that. I don't know if they're all in print now. Some of them still are. Here's the Digits in the Box puzzle, my Pentomino book, Say Cheese, which has been very popular, my latest United States Puzzle book, which is selling pretty well, and so forth. And down here, the Maze of Games by Mike Selinker, which I contributed a puzzle or two to, as well as the Map Maze, the infamous poster Map Maze that was an add-on to that Kickstarter campaign. And then finally, as if you've seen any of my previous videos recently, I've lately been getting into metal melting and foundry work, and so here's a set of pentominos. My set of pentominos made out of 12 different elements on a brass tray. I hand poured those all myself. So anyway, pretty long video, almost up to 10 minutes now. So that's an exhibition of some of the things. This is a fraction of the things in my house. I have a lot more on other bookshelves throughout the house, but these are the ones that most easily displayed on my new cabinet. Thanks for watching.